Thank you.
Next is Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Dr. Lindsay, I want to start with you. You lead at Historically Christian College. We have a number of faith-based, including explicitly Christian colleges and universities in Missouri, which we're very, very proud of. In fact, I think you mentioned College of the Ozarks in your opening testimony, which is right where I live. And we're extremely proud of College of the Ozarks, as well as our other religious institutions, Christian institutions. Let me just ask you about the challenges that Christian colleges and universities have faced, particularly in the last 4 years. I've heard from our institutions in the state of Missouri that under the last administration, they had major problems with accreditation. They had problems with financial aid. They had problems getting certified in various programs. We had threatening letters sent from the Department of Education to numerous of our religious institutions. We're talking about colleges and universities that have been around for 100 years or more in the state of Missouri, our Baptist universities, our non-denominational universities. So can you just speak to the headwinds that Christian colleges and universities have faced and the importance of preserving this distinctive form of education in this country?
Yeah, thanks very much, Senator Hawley. I think one of the key challenges all of us face are the sort of demographic challenges. We're in a competitive landscape and needing to be able to recruit the right kind of students. But the particular challenge we face at faith-based schools is not everybody understands our commitments and understanding, and they make assumptions about what kind of students we have or what kind of campus cultures we build. But I find that when people actually come to our campuses, they actually fall in love with the students. They see that this is a place that really is trying to help students to thrive and to do well. You are right that the regulatory environment can be challenging and that there are certain actors in the political landscape that can make it more challenging. I'm grateful for progress that we've been able to make in recent years, which has made it easier than it was, say, 10 years ago. But it is a real particular issue, and I think all faith-based institutions have to do a better job of making the case of the difference that they make in their local community. I think as people begin to see that we're not enclaves, but we're actually trying to serve and bless our local communities, that's the key of making the difference.
Let me ask you about this piece of legislation that I'm proud to co-sponsor called the Equal Campus Access Act, which ensures that religious student organizations can operate in accordance with their faith-based principles, and it would prohibit funding for public institutions of higher education if they deny rights or benefits or privileges to faith-based student organizations. Now, obviously, you are a faith-based institution, right, but wouldn't you agree, as a person of faith and as someone who educates people of faith, many of whom will go out and probably teach in public universities, that it is important that if you are a person of faith, whether you're leading a university, whether you're teaching in a public university, that you are accorded the same rights and privileges as everybody else. There's no discrimination on the basis of faith. It's a bedrock principle. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Well, certainly we recognize public institutions have a particular obligation to uphold the constitutional right for freedom of speech and a recognition of clear conscience, free conscience. And so it seems antithetical to the very premise of what we're trying to inculcate in our students at public institutions if the students are not allowed the opportunity to organize around their religious convictions and to be able to have a chance to express those. It has had a chilling effect on many campuses as overzealous administrators have said that they're going to try and shut down some of the activities of faith-based groups. But I think that there's a real hopeful opportunity, and certainly I support the expression of those constitutional rights, public and private institutions.
Very good, and I just want to come back to the first point that I made. I think it's absolutely vital that we do everything we can to protect Christian colleges, universities, and their rights to exist and educate students on an equal plane with every other form of university. The truth is, in the last 4 years, we saw a constant effort to undermine the mission of Christian colleges and universities by the Biden administration. And I'm glad that the Trump administration has reversed course, but the Congress needs to do more in making sure that we inscribe into law the equal rights of Christian colleges and universities so that no one is discriminated against on the basis of faith. Now, you've said several times, Dr. Lindsay, you've talked about loving your neighbor. I want to switch gears just a little bit and think about the crisis of anti-Semitism that is currently afflicting many universities and, frankly, many parts of this country. And what makes me think about this is I was having a conversation just the other day with a dear rabbi friend of mine who said to me something interesting, caught my attention. He made a reference to the book of Ruth in the Bible, and I happened to catch it. And so he said, part of the challenge we face now is that so few people, so few students in particular, are taught any kind of biblical history. They're certainly not taught the history of Israel. They don't understand the spiritual foundations that link the people of Israel with the United States of America, our shared moral principles. Here's my question to you. Do you think that Christian colleges and universities have a special role to play now in rooting out this terror of anti-Semitism, this scourge of anti-Semitism, by recalling us to those things that we believe together, to our common moral principles, and also to those foundational commitments like love of neighbor that you've been talking about?
A couple of years ago, I had a chance to visit our honor students who were studying at Jerusalem University College. It's one of our partner institutions, literally built within the wall around Jerusalem. And getting a chance to see up close the Holy Land and to see the impact it was having on the lives of our students, I think really did change their understanding of the experience of Jewish people around the world. So part of what we want to try and do is to help our students to actually engage a much wider world, for them to understand friends and neighbors from a wide variety of backgrounds. And I think as you get to that, you move beyond just sort of a mediocre, small level kind of commitment of inclusion to actually pursuing an ethic of love and care.
Let me just, in my remaining seconds, put a little finer point on this. Wouldn't you agree, don't you think that Christians in particular have a particular obligation to stand up and speak against anti-Semitism and hatred of Jewish people? That is a particular obligation. I say this as a believer myself, that we cannot shirk or look aside from, but we have a particular obligation as people of the books, people of the Bible, to stand in solidarity and to say, we're against hate always, but we have a particular obligation to stand up and speak against anti-Semitism. Don't you think that's right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.